Hi friends, it's me, Allie. The day has finally come. The much anticipated, highly requested video is here. Today, I am talking about my weight loss. I am talking about my 110-pound weight loss. It sounds crazy even just saying that number out loud. But before we dive into the video, let's take a second to grab our iced coffee or a hot coffee. Let's take a sip and let's get started. And just as a disclaimer, I will be talking about what has worked and not worked for me personally. This is just from my perspective. If you are doing something different and it works for you, I love that for you. I am not here to convert anyone into doing or trying anything different. This is what has worked for me or has not worked for me. So just take that with a grain of salt. All right, so this video has been highly requested. Like I said, I've gotten so many comments, messages, private DMs, emails begging me to share my experience, my story, how I did it, all that jazz. So today I have my Google Doc open here with a bunch of notes. I will try to give you as much information as possible, but if you have questions, leave them in the comments below. Okay, so we're finally here. We're talking about my weight loss, and yes, I have lost 110 pounds. Let me Google what that is in kilograms. It's 49.89 kilograms. So 110 pounds is basically a small human. We've all met those people, you know, those like 4'11" people. I've basically lost a whole Denise. I've lost a whole person. And let me tell you, I did not start off by thinking I was going to lose this much weight. This much weight was never my personal goal. It just happened to end up like that. So why haven't I talked about my weight loss very much in detail? It never occurred to me. It never occurred to me that you would be interested or curious. You know, like, I guess it makes sense that you're curious. It makes a lot of sense because you see me several times a week and I've changed a lot physically over the past couple of years. But when I started this weight loss journey, transformation, whatever you want to call it, I did it for myself. I did it for my own health, my own physical health, my own mental health. It was just for me alone. And so, no offense, but you were like the last on my list of sharing this information with. You know, it was just, I'm going to focus on me, focus on myself. And then after a while, you guys started to notice, and I was like, oh yeah, maybe people will be curious about this. I know that there are people on YouTube who do weight loss channels and they turn their whole channel into weight loss. Personally, I think that looks really, I don't want to say awful, like it looks like an awful experience for the person doing it. I think it can be inspirational and motivational, but weight loss is so personal and is so difficult that I had no intention of ever turning my channel into that. And at the end of the day, this is a luxury beauty channel and my weight has nothing to do with how I review eyeshadow. So that's why it never evolved into a weight loss channel in any way. And the reason that I lost weight was for my own health, for my own physical and mental health as well, but mostly physical. So in my life, I have always been on the fluffy side. Like I've stated before, I've always, like in the past, I was heavy. I was heavy as a child, a little bit as a teenager, and then as an adult, young adult in 20s and 30s, I was overweight. And I tried literally every single diet. Any diet you can think of, like any diet you can think of right now, I've tried it. I tried them all. I tried them all, baby. And none of them ever worked. For me personally, none of them worked. None of them stuck. And there's a reason for that, a couple reasons. First and foremost, a diet has a start and a stop. All of them do. It doesn't really matter what it is. They all have this approach of like, ugh, this is the first day of your rest of your life. And then after 6 weeks or 3 months or whatever, that's sort of the end of it. And so that, or at least that is how I approached all the diets. And so that's why none of them ever worked, because I didn't learn anything in the past. I never learned anything about nutrition or health, like actual health. My goal in the past was only to lose weight. That was the goal, only to be smaller, nothing to do about health, anything like that, just like shrink. And it sort of worked temporarily, but it never worked in the long term. At some point in 2021, during COVID, like peak COVID, peak lockdowns, stuck inside, many batches of banana bread were made, chocolate chip cookies, etc. You know, not being able to move and just eating my stressful feelings, I got really big, I got really fluffy, and I didn't physically feel comfortable. I was just really unhappy. I was just really unhappy with my body, with myself, and I didn't like it. And I was really scared because I knew that I wanted to lose weight, but all of my previous attempts had been disasters. Like, yes, they would work for a hot minute, but then I would just gain all of it back and then some. And so I was really scared. And I decided that instead of following whatever hot diet du jour is existing, I would seek medical, professional, scientific advice. And so I ended up reaching out to a dietitian. So a dietitian is a little bit different than a nutritionist. I think I've used the term nutritionist here on my channel, but it's a bit of a misnomer. So a dietitian is someone who has actually gone to university and studied food and health for several years. And I was like, yes, that is what I want. I want someone whose sole profession is food science. Food, how much food, when to eat, all that stuff, because there is so much misinformation on the internet out in the world about health and diet and food and exercise and what to eat, how to eat, when to eat, how much to eat. And I was very confused from all the messages of like, eat low fat, no, only eat low carb, no, only eat meat, no, only eat vegetables, only eat after 2 p.m. No, stop eating after 6 p.m. Just lots of conflicting information. And I was confused because sometimes I would eat a lot of food and then an hour later I would be starving. So I knew that I was doing something wrong. So I wanted to speak to a dietitian to tell me, listen, this is exactly how much meat or protein you should eat. This is how many carbs you should eat. This is, you know what I mean? Just to learn the actual science behind it and learn about nutrition and health that works for me and my body. I knew that I wasn't interested in a fad. I was really interested in my health. And that is when the shift started. And when I started reframing this as my physical health, we talk about mental health all the time. You know, mental health is very important. It is. And it's currently something that people talk about a lot on social media. But your physical health is also important. And your physical health is like just your physical body. And so I started viewing food, nutrition, what I was eating as part of my physical health. Instead of focusing solely on losing weight and trying to become smaller and trying to see a smaller number, my goal, my reframe started to be on physical health. And this is something that was difficult. It didn't come overnight. You know, the 110 pounds that I lost took me a year and a half to lose. My goal was never to lose all the weight overnight. I've done those types of diets that are very restrictive and you lose tons of weight overnight and then you gain all of it back right away. I said my goal is my physical health. I want to eat foods that make me feel good, that make me feel satisfied and full, not too full, but make me feel good and just focus on that physical health. And as it turns out, after a year and a half of doing that, I lost 110 pounds. And that was not my initial goal. When I met with my dietitian originally, she had asked me, you know, what was a weight that I was aware of, or like what was my smallest weight as an adult, you know, not as a teenager, but as an adult. And so my initial goal was to go back down to the smallest I could remember being as an adult. And so that was about 50 pounds. And honestly, when I first started, I was like, I'll say 50, we'll see what happens. And it happened. It was slow and steady. You know, when I first started losing weight, I would lose maybe 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds a week, you know, for the first, I think, several months, maybe 6 months. I would lose maybe a year, actually, several months to a year. I would lose 2 pounds a week, 1.5 pounds sometimes. And it sort of just gradually kept coming off. So once I lost the 50 pounds, my dietitian very like gently was like, well, what if we lose like another 25? And I was like, very skeptical again, like, sure, lady, we'll see. And then it happened. I lost another 25, and it's sort of just snowballed into that. Like, I like that more gentle approach. If I had met this person and they had said, we're gonna make you lose 110 pounds, I would have peaced out. No, thank you. I'm really not into that sort of like aggressive, like, we're gonna change your body overnight. No, I'm good, thank you. I'm more into a very chill, let's be relaxed and sensible about things. And every 6 months or something, every couple of months, like once I would lose the weight, she would say, well, maybe we'll lose another 10 pounds. Maybe we'll lose another 15 pounds. And then 110 pounds later, here we are. The reason I think it's important to speak to a registered dietitian is, like I mentioned, a dietitian is someone who studied actual health science, food science, all that, but they can tell you exactly how much you should aim to eat every day for you, for your specific lifestyle, your age, your height, your sex, your work. Like, are you a farmer? Are you a desk person? You know what I mean? Like, there's all those factors that really contribute into how much you should be eating and what foods are ideal for you. For example, I've noticed that I am someone who craves and needs a lot of protein. If I have a meal that has very little protein, I feel it. I literally get protein cravings. Before losing weight, I was someone who would often crave salty snacks like chips, pretzels, anything salty like that. Now I know when I get that sort of salt craving, I'm not craving chips, I'm craving a steak. I'm craving chicken. I'm craving barbecue. Like, I am craving meat. And that is something that I've discovered about myself after 2 years now of just, you know, being diligent about what I've been eating and paying attention to. And the next part here is really important that personally has helped me a lot is journaling. And journaling what I eat every day. And this doesn't have to be super precise. I'm not writing down like milliliters of food or drink that I'm consuming, but I'm writing down what I'm eating. So let's see, what did I have for breakfast this morning? Okay, so this morning I had 2 eggs scrambled. That's my preferred method of egg. I had 2 toast. And then I had some light margarine. I go in with a light margarine, a bit heavy. And then I had a little bit of raspberry jam. Raspberry is my favorite color, favorite flavor. And I get the jam that has a little bit less sugar in it. And then I had an iced coffee with a 1/2 cup of soy milk. So when I'm talking about journaling, that's what I do. Anything that I eat, anything that I drink that isn't water or tea, you know, if it's black coffee, I don't write it because it doesn't really have any calories, but if I'm having a cappuccino, I'll write that. So that's just what I write, you know, like eggs, toast, light margarine jam, iced coffee with soy milk. And I find that really helpful, and I write that for every meal, every snack, and it's really helpful because it's really easy to forget what you're eating and how much you're eating. It really is. Like, what did you have for breakfast? I don't know. Like, I always forget. And so just writing it down like that is helpful because it isn't to make you feel bad about yourself. It's just to help you keep track of what you're eating, because sometimes you literally will forget. Like, I forget what I eat. And so at the end of the day, when I think, oh, what did I have? Oh yeah, I had that. But sometimes you just forget. And so you're like, well, I don't understand why I've gained weight. But then if you keep a journal, you're like, well, as it turns out, I went out to eat several times and I had several desserts on top of that. And then I had this and I had that. And then at the end of the month, you're like, this makes sense why I gained weight. And so it's a tool. The journal is a tool. It isn't there to make you feel bad. It's just to be accountable for yourself. In the past, when I would have thought of things like journaling, it would have given me a little bit of anxiety and would have made me feel bad because I would have thought to myself, I have to write down everything bad that I'm doing. That's really not the point. It's really just to help keep track of everything. It's sort of the same way you keep a financial budget. You know, when you look at your bank statements, or if you track down your budget with a pen and paper, or if you have like an Excel spreadsheet, it's really just to help you see where you're spending. And sometimes you're overspending and you won't know until you write everything down for yourself. And I find the food journal very helpful. And one thing that's important is being honest with yourself with the food journal, because sometimes, you know, you overdo it and you're like, oh, I won't write it, it's fine. Even if you don't keep track of your food will keep track of you. And so I actually find it very helpful, especially because I've noticed that when I get my period, listen, you know how there are those stereotypes that when you have your period, you have all those cravings for everything? No, it's literally true. Like scientifically, when you have your period, you need more calories. And so oftentimes that comes in the form of desserts or just like more calorie-rich food. But sometimes I'm writing, you know, I'm minding my own business, keeping my food journal, and I'm like, wow, I have been eating a lot this week. And then, surprise, my period starts, and I'm like, this makes sense. This makes a lot of sense. And if you're someone who is currently trying to lose weight or trying to maintain their weight, I know most of you watching me are my age or a little bit older. Listen, baby, if you still have your period, the week of your period, you will not lose weight. Like, I think when I was at the heaviest of losing 110 pounds, I would still lose maybe a pound a week on my period. But when you actually are on your week itself, it's almost impossible to lose weight that 1 week. The day after it stops, you'll probably go down like 2 or 3 pounds. I'm not even joking, but there's something scientific, physiological about your period that makes it so that you keep that weight for that 1 week. It makes you crave more food, you're bloated, you have water retention. So if, as a favor to you, if you are trying to lose weight and you know that you are currently on your week, don't even weigh yourself that week. Just don't. I mean, you can do it for scientific research, but you're not going to lose weight that week. The next week, yes, but not that week. I want to touch on the food journal and budgeting. You know, I mentioned keeping a food journal is sort of like having a financial budget where you sort of keep a track of things and where you're spending, where you're overspending, underspending, all that. And this is very much applicable to food and diet, because let's play a scenario. Let's say you've chosen a new diet or program or lifestyle, whatever you want to call it, and you're doing well. It's been several weeks. You've started to lose a bit of weight. You're doing great. All of a sudden, someone's birthday comes up or a special event, and you're like, oof, I don't know about that. So you go to a restaurant and then you overdo it. You know, you've been keeping on track, but you go to a restaurant and you overdo it like royally, and you think to yourself, well, that's it. Everything that I've been working for, everything that I've been working towards is done in the garbage, worthless. So tomorrow morning, I'm just going to go through McDonald's drive-thru and then I'll pick up a burger for lunch. And you basically scrap all the progress you've made because of one meal that was heavy. Is this familiar to you? It was familiar for me. Let's say you have a financial budget, money. Let's say you want to go on vacation at the end of the year. In a year, you want to go on vacation. So you decide every week you're going to take a little bit of money and put it in a special account. That's your vacation budget. So it's been several weeks, maybe 3 months, and you still have several months left to go before you go on vacation, but your little vacation budget is starting to look like something, you know. It's not there yet, but every week, slowly but steady, you're just adding and adding and adding, and it's going to be nice. And then all of a sudden you realize Sephora is having a sale, and your moisturizer is basically done. You have like one more scrape left of the moisturizer and then it's done. And also you kind of want like a new perfume maybe for summer, you know, something just fun, just to zhuzh yourself up. So you say, okay, listen, I have my budget, I have my goal of a vacation, but for 2 weeks or for 1 week, instead of putting away a little bit of money into my account, I'm going to keep it for myself. I'm going to go to Sephora. I'm going to need a moisturizer, which I need. You need to moisturize. And I want something fun. I want a new little perfume for myself. I won't go heavy. I won't get the massive bottle of perfume. I'll get the travel size one. I'm going to go in a plan. I'm going to have a plan. I'm going to plan ahead. I'm going to go to Sephora. I'm going to ignore the new eyeshadows. I'm going to ignore the new foundations that I do not need. I'm going to go in, get my 2 products. I'm going to be very happy. It'll be a great experience. I'll get my little samples. I'll get what I need and what I want and move on with my day. That's it. That's all it is. After you make your purchase, you go back to saving money into your little vacation fund. At the end of the year, you still get to go on vacation. You still get your goal. It's not because you deviated a little tiny bit that everything is scrapped and everything is out the window. If you can translate that to your physical health, to your food, to your diet, to your meal plan, whatever you want to call it, that is winning. Because in reality, it doesn't matter if you follow advice from a dietitian, if you do keto, if you do intermittent fasting, if you do whatever you want to do. Realistically, your diet will never be perfect. Do you know why? Because perfection does not exist. You are a human being. You will get your period. You will travel. You will have birthdays, anniversaries. You're not going to go to a birthday party with a bag of baby carrots and ignore the birthday cake. That's sad and weird. So if you can translate that same analogy of budgeting for a vacation to budgeting for weight loss or for your health, if your goal is to lose weight or to become a healthier person, you have to sort of adopt that same mentality. I lost 110 pounds in a year and a half, and I promise you, I still celebrated birthdays and anniversaries, and I still went to parties. I just prioritized things. And listen, I'm human. I had those moments even when I was in the process of like, oh, I overdid it, so therefore everything is over. And it's like, no. Even if you're following a diet plan or whatever, and you go overboard at a certain event, that does not mean that you've regained the 10, 15, 20, 30 pounds that you've lost. Maybe your scale will go up a little bit, but it'll go back down. It'll flatten out. It's okay. It's, you have to sort of change your mindset. That's really the most helpful part. And personally, the most helpful part of my weight loss has been going to therapy. Therapy has helped me divorce food from morality. This idea of like good versus bad food, and therefore you are good versus bad depending on the food you're eating or the food you're craving. Being able to separate those two, because realistically, those foods have nothing to do with, food and morality have nothing to do with each other. They're two very separate things. I grew up in the 90s and the 2000s, and it was rough. There was so much diet culture and diet talk and weight loss, and it was everywhere. Oprah wouldn't shut up about it. You would go to the grocery store, every magazine was always talking about it. And I think it really did a huge disservice to a whole generation of women. But that, I think, is the part that has helped me the most, just separating completely food from morality, because the food that you crave and the food that you eat has nothing to do with your quality of character or quality of person. It's literally just food. Something very interesting happened to me personally when I started just divorcing morality from food and making them very separate, is that it also worked on my sort of feast or famine mentality. Every time I would start a diet in the past, I would think to myself, okay, it's my time to shine. It's my time to eat. I'm starting a diet tomorrow. The first day of the rest of my life, blah, 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 starts tomorrow. So I need to eat whatever I want as much as I can now, which is very unhealthy. It would make me feel horrible physically and mentally as well. And so removing that morality from food and just realizing that there is no feast or famine. I mean, I'm extremely lucky. I live in Canada. I'm doing well. If I want food, I can have food. Just because I'm focusing on my physical health and foods that are healthier does not mean that I'll never be able to have junk food ever again. And for me, that really is something that helped me, trying to just get rid of that feast or famine of like, if I don't have it now, I'll never have it. No, I'll have it. I'll have it as much as I want, as often as I want. It just so happens that because I've been focusing so much on my physical health, I've really paid attention to how food makes me feel. And as it turns out, junk food gives me horrible indigestion. I become a walking advertisement for Pepto-Bismol. And so I feel so extremely mature and adult saying this, but sometimes I'm at the grocery store and I walk through like the junk food aisle and I'm like, ooh, that would be good. And then I pick it up and I think, if I have this, I'm going to feel horrible, like physically, not mentally, not emotionally, physically. I'm going to be bloated, I'm going to feel dehydrated, I'm going to have indigestion the whole night. So I just put it back. And it feels very boring and adult to be like, actually, that'll give me a tummy ache. But it does. It gives me a tummy ache. And so I have less motivation to eat junk food. I still enjoy a chip, ice cream, chocolate, candy. I still enjoy those things. I just enjoy them less frequently and in smaller volume, basically. And because I've reframed my mind around focusing on physical health, getting rid of morality, food, good, bad, at the end of the day, food is no longer taboo. It's not like, ooh, this is like a bad thing that I want and I'm bad because I want it. It's like, no, like it's food. If I have Doritos at the end of the bag, I'm going to feel a lot worse than if I get carrot sticks. And I'm saying all of this to you today with so much ease, but trust me, it was a lot of work. It was really hard work. Retraining your brain to think a different way is exceptionally challenging. I'm not saying this to discourage you. I'm just saying this to be realistic. It does get easier with time. The more you practice it, the more you put these things into practice, it does get easier. But at first, it's very challenging because in the past, whenever I would get negative emotions like angry, sad, anxious, whatever we want to associate with negativity, I would get this urge to eat. I wouldn't get an urge to eat. I would feel hungry. Something in my brain would say, you're hungry, you're hungry. And it would tell me that I was hungry, specifically for like junk food, because it was very comforting. And as I started doing all the work, all the therapy, doing, all that stuff, I realized sometimes I would get those little ping of like, you're hungry, when I wasn't actually. I would have to sit there for a second and think, no, actually, I'm super tired, I'm exhausted, I'm a little bit anxious, I'm a little bit depressed, I'm angry, all those fun feelings. And I would have to sit there and realize I wasn't actually hungry, but my brain was telling me that I was, because it wanted some sort of soothing. It wanted to feel something else. And so it was like, go eat something. It wanted to feel something else. And so my brain would tell me to go eat in order to soothe and make that go away. And unfortunately, that doesn't really work. I mean, it works temporarily, but then I would gain a lot of weight. So it didn't really work. And a lot of us have developed unhealthy coping mechanisms. I chose food, and we all have different reasons for doing so. And so I think that's why for me, the therapy is the reason why this time it's actually been successful. And the way that I view food now is a complete 180. Like I'm a completely different person. The way that I've changed mentally, not only with food, but with everything, is completely different. And I'm very happy that I did the hard work. Hopefully I'm not tempting the universe by saying that, but I've just done a lot of really hard work mentally on myself to reframe my brain, and it's been very successful, and I'm very happy I did it. So many of the comments and messages and requests were begging me to share my secret, the one tip, the one trick, the secret, the magic fruit, the magic berry. Ooh, a new super fruit that's going to make you lose 110 pounds. And I'm here to tell you, it does not exist. That is a complete lie. Anyone who's telling you there's a magic smoothie, a magic juice, a magic fruit, a magic broccoli, they're lying to you because they want to sell you something and they're trying to make money off of you. So I would avoid those, because at the end of the day, anything that's worth doing takes hard work. Anything that's going to be good is going to take some effort. on your part. And one last thing I want to impart on you is that it's really important to lose the weight the same way you want to maintain it. So for me, it took me a year and a half to lose 110 pounds. There are a lot of programs and magic diets out there with magic gummy bears that will make you lose 60 pounds in 6 weeks or whatever bullshit. Sure, go ahead. You're going to gain all of that back, because if you're automatically changing your diet to something completely different and you're hyper restrictive and you're eating all these foods that you hate, the second you stop, because of course you will, like if you're forcing yourself to eat foods that you hate, you're just going to fall back into old patterns. And so that's why, I mean, there's no magic cure, there's no magic pill. To sum up, I've been eating healthier, I've been eating a little bit less, and I've been exercising. Exercise is a good one. I talk a lot about going on my stupid little mental health walks. That is true. I go on my stupid little mental health walk each and every day. Every single day I go for a walk, because this is the one exercise that I love the most. We focus a lot about exercise when it comes to weight loss, and exercise is a part of health, like your physical health. There is exercise in there, but for weight loss, it's really unfortunately what you eat that's more important than exercise itself. I love walking. It's not for everyone. Some people in the comments have said that they've started to go on walks and they've enjoyed it. I love that for you. It may not be for you. Maybe you prefer to go swimming or do Zumba or do karate class. I don't know. It's really not important. What's important is finding some sort of physical activity that you enjoy that is sustainable. Anyone can go to the gym and kill themselves on those machines for a week. That's not health. Your health is long-term. Your health is your whole life. It isn't just a short week blip. It's long-term. So it's important to find exercise that you can do forever and enjoy it. So because my focus was never to talk about it here with you guys on YouTube, I don't have like a lot of before and after photos, but luckily I do have a lot of YouTube videos of basically just like chest up that you can see how much has changed in the past couple years. It's 2 years now, and yeah, there was a really big difference. It's crazy. I mean, it's like a whole person. It's kind of hard to believe that was ever me, but it was. But I look back at that and I'm like, wow, that is a whole different person. So I hope that this has been helpful to you. I'm not exactly certain what people were expecting in a way. You know, I've never done this type of video before. I've never talked about my weight or my weight loss because, like I said, this is a luxury beauty YouTube channel, and my weight does not have anything to do with how I review makeup. But I understand, listen, you guys have been with me for several years now, and I look like a totally different human being. I am a totally different person. I am. I've changed, like I've done a whole 180 on my life. So I understand the curiosity, and I hope this was helpful. You know, I'm looking back now and I'm like, I don't know, man. I feel like I've talked a lot, but I don't know if I've like given anything helpful. I hope I did. It's difficult, you know, weight loss is really difficult. It is. I'm talking to you here successfully after losing all this weight, but it is challenging. It's very personal. This is what worked for me. It may not work for you, and that's okay. We're different people. I'm not here to like make you feel bad about yourself if this doesn't work for you. That's totally fine. Let me know if you have questions, comments, leave them down below in the comments section. And I have something very exciting to share with you. So the day that you are watching this, I've pre-filmed a bunch of videos, and this video is pre-filmed as well. This is coming out on July 7th. So as you're watching this, I will be convalescing at a clinic because I will have undergone surgery to remove some loose skin on my body. As you can imagine, after losing 110 pounds, I've got loose skin a little bit everywhere, and that's the reality of undergoing a massive weight loss transformation. It is what it is. At the end of the day, loose skin has nothing to do with my physical health, doesn't affect my blood pressure or anything like that. It's just aesthetic. That being said, I don't want it. So I'm going to undergo that surgery. I'm going to start with an extended arm lift, and that's basically when they remove a lot of the loose skin under the arm here, and they go into the armpit as well. So I will be recovering from that as you're watching this video live. Clearly, I can't respond to the comments right away. I've actually pre-filmed 3 weeks worth of videos. I'm tired, y'all. So for the past few weeks, I've been pre-filming videos basically for almost all of July. I have videos filmed and ready to go up until July 28th because it's going to take, hopefully, knock on wood, 4 weeks to be fully recovered back to normal. So I was able to film 3 weeks worth of videos. I will more than likely be bored at some point when I'm recovering. So I won't be responding to any comments right away. Maybe after a week or two, we'll see how I feel. But I'm not certain if I'll come back to film videos the week of July 31st. What I'll do is if I need an extra week or two, we'll see. Hopefully I'm back in full shape, in full form, ready to come back at the end of July. But if I'm not, I will post a tab, or I will post in my community post section. I'll post there the community post, and I'll keep you updated on how I'm doing, how I'm feeling. So please send me all of your well wishes, your positive thoughts, your prayers, positive vibes. I need them. I need all the good vibes, you know. Send me health, healing, good scar healing, all that jazz. Send that my way. It feels so surreal. I'm very excited for this surgery. I'm very excited to have that like next chapter of my life starting. You know, I've lost all this weight. Now I would like my body to look the way that it's supposed to after losing all this weight, but it still feels very surreal. Obviously, this is being pre-filmed, so it'll be very real on July 7th for me, but I'm very excited, nervous, excited, nervous, like excited. But those are the two main feelings that I'm getting. So I'm very excited for that. It's like, it's really weird. Like I just never thought I would be here. Like I truly never thought like I'm gonna transform my whole life and body and mental health completely, but I have. It still feels very surreal. Anyway, I'm very excited for that. And I decided to start with the extended arm lift because as far as surgery goes for loose skin removal, it's one of the easier ones to recover from. Hopefully, my plan is to just like recover from that, heal, feel good, and then maybe next year get the tummy tuck, which I've heard is a lot more work or just like a lot more to recover from, but it would yield a really nice result. So that'll hopefully be, fingers crossed, for next year. And while we're here talking about my weight loss video, no, I have not had weight loss surgery, like the, what's it called? Like the gastric sleeve or gastric bypass. I haven't had surgery of any nature in that sense. I've also never taken Ozempic or Mounjaro or any versions of Ozempic. I don't know if you know about this. Apparently everyone is on this. I know 2 people in my regular life who are on it. It's a weight loss medication. One person I know went on it and hated it because of all the side effects and didn't lose any weight. Another person I know has lost some weight but is also experiencing side effects. But while we're here, no, I have not done any of those things. There's nothing wrong with them. Those are all tools to help you with your weight loss or your health. So if those are accessible to you and you want to try them, I don't know, it's your body, it's your choice, do whatever you want. But I wanted to clear that up while we were here. So I hope this was helpful. I hope I helped someone. I don't know. If you have more questions, leave them down below. I will get to them in a month, probably. I won't be able to get to them soon, but if you want to do a follow-up, if you guys have more questions, if you want me to go in depth into more avenues, let me know in the comments. Again, I've never done this type of content before, so I'm like unsure. This is not my niche, really. But anyway, that is all I have for you guys for today. I hope you enjoy the pre-filmed content for the next 3 weeks. I actually had a little oops today that I'm filming this. It's a Wednesday, and I had a video pre-filmed that I wanted to go live at 10 a.m. It went live at midnight. listen, at least they went live on the right date. Hopefully, no, I double checked. Everything should be running smoothly while I'm enjoying Netflix for a few weeks. I'm going to be so bored because I'm a very active person, like very active. And so having to just sit and do nothing for weeks, it's going to be challenging. But the less I do for the first 4 weeks, the better the results. Like the better everything heals and everything scars better. So I just have to sit there. In a way, like a few months ago, I had COVID and I was knocked out for like 2 weeks. In a way, that was good preparation to just sit there and do nothing. So, but anyway, here I am just going blah, blah, blah. It's going to be so weird to not, like I'm going to be here with you guys, like with my videos, but it won't be the exact same. And I'm going to miss you. I'm going to miss you for a few weeks. I really will. So I'm going to be looking forward to coming back and doing my regular scheduled programming. But anyway, that's all I have for you guys for today. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hope you have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.